Good evening, everybody. This is your captain speaking. Welcome on board First Time Flyers. I'm your pilot, Joe, and I'm here with my co-pilot, Viv. Today we'll be departing for the real world. Fasten your seatbelts, secure your baggage, and prepare for takeoff.
Opening up with taking off for the real world sounds like we're going to break the meta.
We're coming through your phones or whatever device you listen on.
Yeah. Have you... I watched a compilation of this for season 1 specifically just because I wanted to see if anything like extreme happened or whatever. And then I think it is the last episode, they go behind the scenes, like they literally break into the back of the house where all the camera crew are, where they have all the monitors. And I think that's kind of poetic and beautiful in a way.
Yeah.
That they're breaking the meta. I feel so this should have been the end of reality of them literally busting into the back.
Well, that's what's interesting about this show. Obviously, we'll get into how it kind of kickstarted reality TV as we know it. But
that seems like such a beautiful, poetic endpoint.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they kind of... This is one of the few shows where we'll talk about what reality TV we've seen, but you don't see many reality TV shows where they kind of acknowledge that they're in a reality TV show.
Yeah. There's also an interesting thing with one of the crew, actually, like one of the 7 people started dating one of the directors and the director had to get fired because of it. I mean... so is that breaking meta as well?
Yeah, because that means they're having a relationship like off camera in a way, but like on camera in a way as well.
First reality show.
First reality TV show, really delving into
first us covering a reality show.
And in a way, lots of people regard this as the first modern reality TV show.
Yeah, there's been like documentaries, of course.
Yeah.
Especially in film. But this iteration of it is quite unique.
Yes, it originated a lot of the tropes that we know now as known as reality TV.
Yeah, the editing.
Exactly. Confessionals.
Yeah. Talking Heads. Doing it. Just all the staples. Just like, this is the genesis.
It is. That's why we decided to swap it for Pimp My Ride, because we were going to do Pimp My Ride because Garen recommended that we do it because it is one of the iconic MTV shows. And granted, I didn't know this existed, whereas I did know about Pimp My Ride.
I didn't know about this either.
No, but then when we were researching Pimp My Ride, this was coming up again and again.
Yeah.
So it just made sense to cover this first.
Yeah, I was watching a Billiam video about MTV, and he covered this, and I'm just like, this sounds fascinating.
I'll have to watch that. I haven't seen that video.
No,
Big
it's really
fan
good.
Of Billiam. Yeah.
We covered a lot of the similar points with Beavis and Butthead, and he also covered Jackass. He covered Aeon Flux. We're kind of fucked, honestly. He did a better job.
Damn. I like Billiam. There's not many people... eventually we'll have guests outside of our friend group. It's more just dealing with the online aspect of recording with people that we can't just get in the room.
Yeah.
I'd love to record with Billiam.
You just want to talk about Digimon with him.
I was going to say, him and me have our hobbies, interests, stuff as a fucking circle. We either hate each other or become best friends.
You're going to look into the reflection, not like what you see.
Yeah. It's like... What do you mean Argumon's not your favourite?
I'll talk to him about Scooby-Doo or something.
Yeah, genuinely.
But he did a really good job, so I guess if you like this and you want a visual version, go see that.
Yeah, especially because we only sort of dip our toes in, as you know. I only watched the first episode.
Yeah, and to be fair, we are going to talk about the actual first episode in way more depth.
Exactly. So if you like this, go check out Billiam. I don't know we're shouting about it if he hasn't got millions.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have heard about this if it wasn't for him, and thus we wouldn't have done this episode because I suggested it.
Oh, no, exactly. And we've mentioned it before. I think we talked about him in the last episode. So, very influential.
I talked about him on the last episode as well.
Yeah. That's literally what I just said.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, to be fair.
Sorry, the asbestos is getting to me.
To be fair, with my accent, it probably sounded like I said last episode, as in last week, not lost episode. As in the television show Lost. What's your history with reality TV?
My parents loved reality TV. They were watching at the peak of it, so like 2007, 2008, 2009.
Do you remember which shows?
A lot of weight. You know those weight shows? Fucking...
Oh, God, yeah.
Fatty fucks.
Yeah. We're going to find the fattest family in Britain.
No, what was it? Were they make them lose weight?
I can't remember the name of it. Fuck, it's like Biggest Loser was one of them.
That's the one.
Yeah.
They watched a shitload of that. They watched a lot of The Home Makeover. I actually quite like that. I like them turning people's houses into horses.
Yeah.
That was cool. They watched a ton of them though, but they all did kind of blur together. I fucking hated them.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, I was like 12.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. I didn't really personally get into reality. Well, before I go into mine, is there a reality show that you have watched that you have liked? Or like as an adult or as you were getting older?
I gotta be honest, no. I don't think I have genuinely sat through like a whole season or something. Fair. I find them so... I guess I viewed the sort of editing of it as being more manipulative than than the other forms of television.
Yeah.
Which is obviously dumb, of course, like all TV, but especially when it's constructing this sort of reality. And I guess I was getting at that age where I was starting to become aware of like the mechanics it used. So
yeah, well, that's kind of similar to me. Granted, I think I was a little bit older before
they were so
boring.
So many of them were so dull, and they were relying at this point. They were relying on the same couple of cliches. Oh, wait, I watched like the talent shows. I guess I did like Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah, those are almost their own subgenre, I suppose. But
they are reality.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Reality quotes
unquote. I completely agree, because when I think of the reality TV shows I watched, I remember we were together when we put on the first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't the first episode. It was like series 6, I think, and that was kind of shook my world in terms of the editing. But also, I hadn't really experienced much queer media at that point, so I did kind of become obsessed with Drag Race for like 4 years, because I watched up to season 10.
Yeah.
And then, similar to it, just kind of clicked one day of like, wow, I hate how this narrative is manufactured. And
yeah,
I think it was because I dipped my toes in online and I saw people genuinely giving hate to the queens on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is literally like how the show is edited, is framing them in a certain way. And granted, it probably hit different with that show because, most of the times the villain edits were given to, the black loud queens, and it's just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Are we doing this now?
And then you get to the stage of we'll bring this up with the show as well, because it seems like the origin of like every sort of cliche.
Yeah.
Of people going into these things wanting to be a villain in order to gain some sort of
narrative and
gain the narrative,
notoriety.
Get notoriety so they can pursue the career they actually want.
Yeah,
or whether they just want fame because of it.
Which is many such cases nowadays of what I feel like what especially reality TV is known for now. I'm thinking of your Love Islands, that sort of thing, where you're going on it, like Love Island, for example, you're not going on it to find love. You're going on it to become a reality TV personality.
Yeah.
And, each to their own. I never want to be one of those people who judges people who watches those shows. Being honest, my dad is one of those people. He's one of those guys who's like, I can honestly say I have never watched an episode of Love Island. And it's like, fucking good for you. But also, it's not for me, that style. I definitely have aged out of reality TV. Yeah. I did get into baking shows when I was in uni.
You like The Apprentice, though?
I do like The Apprentice. So a funny thing with The Apprentice is, I watched it around the same time I got into Drag Race. That was when I was getting into reality. And then a similar time, it clicked and I was like, I hate these people and I hate the way this show is manipulating my emotions. So I stopped watching. But I did watch the most recent season because of FOMO with Meg and Garen. And I do think if I kind of shed my media literacy a bit and just accept of a narrative.
Take off your thinking caps, per se.
Yeah, and just be like, now I know a narrative is being constructed. And sometimes that makes it fun to engage with. Like, for example, in The Apprentice this season, it was so obvious one person was going to win. But then I kept going to be a contrarian. Oh, but how interesting would it be if they gave her the winner's edit the whole season, and then all of a sudden she didn't win?
Yeah.
That would make good TV. So I was watching it from a more analytical standpoint on some days, and then some days I was just like, I know this is all fucking fake. It's fine. But yeah, it's definitely something I don't reach to a lot.
We're definitely not post reality TV, clearly not. We still have baking shows. We still have competition shows. They're still really popular, especially on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel as though we're definitely over the peak in terms of their cultural cachet.
I agree.
Maybe Love Island is still quite huge, and maybe especially here, like I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah, which again shows I personally haven't watched. Especially I'm a Celebrity. I've just never enjoyed it on a personal level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking of.
It's always been strange because they are such a cultural thing in the UK.
Yeah.
They often come up in work more so than I would say general narrative TVs.
Yeah, I agree.
TV shows. So it would just be more of a FOMO thing. I would feel that you would want to engage with this kind of show rather than necessarily you personally like the narrative or even the characters. It's more, what's your opinion on this dickhead did this?
I completely agree. I mean, that's what happened with reality TV show, with reality TV, with The Apprentice specifically. I mean, both of them have been on this podcast, but Meg and Garen were speaking about it week by week. And I was like, I don't want to feel left out. So I watched it. And every week then we would have we would message during the episode, and me and Meg actually watched the finale together.
What do you think of this situation?
Yeah, literally. It's like, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of this? And to be fair, we're media literate enough to say like, oh, well, I understand that they're getting the villain edit and this and that and talk about it like that. But really, it's no different. We're just up on our high horse about it.
To tie back into the real world, I was genuinely like seeking out opinions whilst I was watching this, because like a lot of like very touchy subjects were coming up. It's stuff I was not expecting at all, and I was genuinely thinking like, okay, I generally don't know how I feel about like how certain things are like speaking about, not in terms of like no one should bring these up or anything, because obviously it's a 90s show, but I was just starting to think like, oh, I wonder what the general reception of this is with like everyone else.
Yeah, because if you haven't seen the first episode of Real World, because it is relatively hard to find, and we'll go into why when we talk about
the first 10 minutes
history.
are just on YouTube, but the last 10 are not.
Yeah, and it's just kind of tricky to find the older seasons
in the UK. As far as I can see, in the US, it's just on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, which again, I'm unsure. I saw someone saying it was taken down, but maybe that was just certain seasons. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's surprising how quickly they get into more, frankly, mature conversations about certain topics, like in the first episode, race specifically.
Yeah.
I
know they touch on like a bunch of stuff.
Later on, yeah, they do. I mean, I think we voiced this opinion before, either on this podcast or on All Hail the King, about how I think that people forget how quote-unquote woke the world used to be. Yeah. Nowadays, if stuff like this comes up on TV, I feel like people are quick to jump on. Oh, it's very orchestrated. It's very much talking about like hot and button issues, which it was at the time, of course. And I'm sure a lot of these conversations were kind of orchestrated. But I feel as though our cultural perception of media has shifted, where a lot of people kind of only think shows now are talking about this stuff and don't understand that no, shows have always talked about this stuff, just in a different way.
This 30-year-old show is pushing on the exact same hot button issues.
Exactly. It's very interesting. And it's interesting to see how it's aged in certain ways and how it hasn't in a lot of others.
Yeah.
Should we go into the history of the show?
Yes.
So The Real World, also formerly known as Hustlers University, is an online site started by Andrew Tate, named funny. For the real world by Beyond the Matrix. It's because when I googled it, it was the third result below Andrew Tate's shit. Okay,
why were you googling Andrew Tate shit?
I googled The Real World, and the first two links were to Andrew Tate's website, which is a whole other conversation. We're not getting into that. What a load of shit. Anyway, the actual show was created by Mary Ellis Banham and Jonathan Murray. So together, those two formed Banham Murray Productions and co-created many reality TV shows, including Project Runway and Keeping Up with the Kardashians and other shows.
The reality
pioneers, really. Mary Ellis Banham specifically was a very acclaimed TV producer in the 70s to 90s. I don't know exactly when their merger happened, but she was specifically listed as more acclaimed as an individual before Jonathan Murray, but then together they just became a force for television themselves. Mary Ellis did sadly pass away in 2004, but Jonathan Murray does still keep up with television in certain ways. He currently is living somewhere in America with his partner and son. He is a gay man, and I just thought it was worth mentioning based on when we talk about how reality TV is later on. Banham and Murray were inducted into the TV Academy Hall of Fame, actually, in 2012.
Yeah.
That's how acclaimed they were. So
that's interesting. It's interesting thinking of production in terms of this, though.
Yeah.
Where it's obviously you still have to get the crew together. But it's not, instead of it is a reconstruction of reality. We'll talk about reality.
We're going to get really into
the philosophy of reality TV shows, but carry on, sorry.
I completely agree.
That's cool.
Production in this circumstance kind of means a lot more than it means with other shows.
Yeah.
There's always the joke of, what do executive producers do?
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, no, they basically run the entire show.
Yeah.
So the show, The Real World, was inspired by the 1973 PBS docuseries An American Family, which was essentially a very early example of reality TV from the 70s. Of course, it was still more documentary style.
Yeah.
But it was just, I think, 10 episodes following a family.
There's been like a myriad of cases. I know they don't directly influence one.
Yeah.
But there's this like very famous documentary where is these group of kids.
Yeah.
And they basically come back to them like every 25 years or something.
Yeah.
And it's like still going, I think.
That's
It's like,
crazy.
insane. They're like elderly now.
That's mad, yeah. But yeah, so when we say this is the first reality TV show, obviously we don't mean this is the first case of reality, quote-unquote, television.
Yeah, it's not the first documentary.
No, documentaries exist, but this was pulling from that idea. So essentially, with the increase of youth-focused media in the 90s, such as like Beverly Hills, 90210, and Melrose Place, Bunham and Murray considered developing a scripted series to try and tap into the youth market. But as they got further into production, they realized the cost was too high for, scripting, getting paid actors, and so on. So it gets a bit muddled by here, but this, from my understanding, this is when they then said basically scrap what we've got so far. Instead, we're going to pivot to this whole genre of reality TV in terms of course, because they didn't call it that at the time. They basically said, we don't need a script. We just need a diverse group of people and put them all in one place. And their conversations that naturally come up will be the script. And I think this is around the time then season 0, or also known as the pilot season, was filmed.
Yeah.
I kind of found it a little confusing, but I think that the pilot season did use maybe like low-key actors, and then after that was when they decided to go against actors.
Yeah, it was just an experiment from what I could see. It was filmed on like nothing cameras.
Yeah,
putting them together.
It was only filmed over like 3 days. It was filmed over Memorial Day weekend in 1981. In the same place that season 1 would be filmed.
Like a proof of concept, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. It was filmed on high 8 cameras, and they had no lights or anything.
Yeah.
Just the cameras. And
we couldn't find it.
Well, yeah, it is available on the DVD of season 1.
Yeah, and it's not even the whole thing, is it?
No, of The Real World. The only footage I could find of it was a guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'll get it up now. A guy who covered it on his Patreon, and he did show some clips, but it's not...
it's on an out-of-print DVD.
Yeah, it's not accessible now, which is always sad, especially with how much we love looking at actual pilots.
Especially as a lover of shitty camcorder footage.
Yes.
I would very much like to see how that was constructed.
Exactly. So it was Matt Baum who covered it on his Patreon, and it was interesting to see, but there's not much we can actually talk on the video itself. But just to talk about the way it was shot. So director Rob Klug.
The pilot now, or the actual show?
The pilot, specifically. So director Rob Klug worked many kind of unique ideas that were kind of unknown to documentaries, quote unquote, at the time, including shooting handheld and following people outside. And using Dutch angles specifically. So just kind of getting experimental with...
Yeah, they definitely incorporate that into the show.
Yeah, they did. The cast of the pilot season ranged from 18 to 25-year-olds, mostly from New York City. And this is why I got a little bit confused, because on whether they used actors or quote-unquote real people, because...
As we all know, actors aren't people.
Exactly. Because one of the people who was in the house was an MTV employee by the name of Tracy Jane Grandstaff.
Daria Morgendorf?
Yeah, the voice actor for Daria and a production assistant on The Real World.
She wasn't at the time. She was just like
she
assistant.
wasn't. She was working with MTV. I guess they were just like, would you want to be on it? Yes. And she would become a production assistant on The Real World show. So she would work on the show, but she was in that pilot season.
Imagine watching this and then just Daria.
Because does she? I haven't heard her actual voice. Does it just sound
very
like
monotone.
Daria? Yeah, it seems like the kind of voice that would just be their normal voice. But yeah. So after this, they decided it was cheaper to hire regular people from diverse backgrounds. They chose 7 people out of 500 applicants, paying them about $2,500 to $2,600.
What's that today money?
$6,151.
Yeah.
So $6,000 for...
How long was this? How long of a period of time was this filmed over?
Okay, so they lived in the converted 400 square foot duplex in Soho from February 16th to May 18th, 1992.
Okay,
so 4 months. February,
3 months.
February.
Oh wait, yeah,
March, April, May. Yeah, about 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So $6,000, so about $2,000 a month. So it's pretty good pay.
I guess the rent's already paid.
Yeah, exactly. And I imagine food would be provided.
I guess so.
Like in the loft, probably. Like if they went out there.
Each other. Just start starving.
That'd be a great reality TV show.
I did see later on, there was, because they were, I think it was Kevin, he was trying to get a job whilst he was out there, and this was like a big thing, because he was just like, I'm running out of money, and I'm just like, okay. So I'm guessing maybe they don't provide, I'm guessing they provide snacks.
Yeah, maybe they don't provide meals, but
yeah.
Exactly.
It's just start starving. I'm sorry, we're trying to capture reality right now. It's like those war photographers.
Not allowed to get involved.
Can't get involved. It's the philosophy.
That's really funny.
It's like, help me!
Help me, please. I saw the fucking video that was like, the BBC wildlife documentary crew decided to intervene to save the lives of these penguins. And it's like, yeah, because what's the fucking story of they watched these penguins slowly die?
I don't know. Have you ever seen like any David Attenborough documentary? It's just like, here's 50 walruses falling off a cliff.
To be fair. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, I understand. It's like, this is the natural order of the world. It's like, help them. I think you can help them.
Sure.
It's like it's like fucking Doctor Who rules. Of like, save one walrus.
Save one walrus. Yeah, I agree.
What could one walrus do to the timeline?
You save Hitler walrus. How do you feel now?
The other walruses see you saving the Hitler equivalent of a walrus.
What are you doing?
Like, why him? Sorry, I'm just thinking of their like the walrus mustaches.
But it's just like a tiny one. Yeah.
The show, can you believe it, was met with negative critical reception, mainly due to the concept differing from typical documentaries. And there was also criticisms of the quote-unquote cast.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just want to say, I will be referring to them as the cast throughout, and we'll get into this when we talk about them individually as well. Obviously, with reality TV, it kind of does skirt the line of, yes, these are real people,
but these are constructed characters.
Yeah, their narrative has been edited together in a certain way.
Less so than modern reality TV shows.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this is
especially
more true
now.
to life.
People understand the concept of how reality TV works, so they often play up certain aspects of them. That still happens naturally within this, but to a lesser degree. People
definitely play it up. I mean, that's the whole thing with Survivor, a show I've always wanted to watch but isn't really available here, is there are people who go on who are fans of Survivor and try and like metagame the show. And like we said with...
How do you metagame the real world? I guess that one guy who was like a prick.
Yeah, I mean, depends. Would you be like super nice or...
No, you'd be a prick. You know, guys, I don't know the name off the top of my head. There's like a very famous guy who was like purposely like a twat.
Yeah?
Yeah, and he was kicked off because he was like such a dick. But then he kept being called back because he was like the most
good television.
It's good television. It's good drama.
Well, that's the thing. Even though it was critically kind of panned, it was extremely popular with viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap to make, popular in viewers. So this is just a win-win for
easy money essentially. There was no exact viewership numbers for the first episode, but by the 2000s. According to Vice, the show was gaining 3.5 million viewers per episode.
That's insane.
Like gaining. It's not like it had 3.5 million viewers an episode. It was getting 3.5 million more. I think that was, 7 seasons into the show, I'm assuming, if not 5 or 6.
I know Bill Clinton was like talking about it in one of his speeches when he was talking about the queer... person, like AIDS activist.
Yeah, because that's something that does come up in the show. So the show went on to become MTV's top-rated show, overtaking Beavis and Butthead in season 4, or around July 1995. The show hosted many future celebrities. I did scroll through a list. I didn't recognize many. I only recognized 2. One of them is Jamie Chung, who is in Once Upon a Time and also is Chi-Chi in Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just thought it was funny. I think she was Chi-Chi. Yeah, I'm sure she was Chi-Chi. The other one, I don't know if you'll know the name alone, was Karamo Brown, who was he's one of the guys in Queer Eye.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the emotional guy.
Oh, yeah, the therapist guy.
The therapist guy.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, so he started off in that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know if he had other stuff going on before, but he was in the show at some point.
I know how much the show had like star making
Potential. Yeah, exactly.
So it would make sense if this was like his first foray into that.
Yeah, I completely agree. So participants were chosen by a diverse set of characteristics and beliefs. The cast could move out or may be asked to leave, and if there was a lot of episodes left, so maybe if they like moved out episode 2, they might replace them, but then they didn't always. Pay for the cast would slowly increase, but the cast never received residuals despite the show's popularity.
Oh, damn.
Because they were technically not actors.
Oh, so you don't have a union.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And worst, and I think this kind of sucks, and I don't know if this has changed since, especially because how do you police this? They weren't allowed to use the show's name for their own promotion. I'm sure this has kind of changed now, but it was basically at the time you couldn't just be like, I'm Bobby from the real world, like as a marketing thing, like maybe Cameo.
I guess.
Like it's like, oh well.
I'm sure you can now.
Yeah. If not, it's just people know what you're from anyway.
Yeah.
But you couldn't put the show's name on your marketing.
Damn.
Yeah. So I guess if you were a comedian, say, and you'd been on the show, you couldn't say, come see like the comedian famous for the real world. You couldn't say something like that. Participants were restricted to going places where they could be filmed. However, sometimes producers would let things slide and people do things unfilmed, such as there was an example of one guy who was really nervous to go on a first date.
Yeah.
So they did let him do it unfilmed,
Aww.
which is nice. I'm glad they did.
Now they would stick hidden cameras
Now
everywhere.
they would. They'd be like, of course you can go
They'd
unfilmed.
wear their meta glasses.
Little did he know, this date wasn't real.
I would kill myself and then everyone else.
Well, I think that's something that happened in season 0.
Someone
Someone got hit on. I think it was Tracy.
Oh yeah, it was like manipulated.
Yeah. Someone got hit on by someone at a bar, and they went out on a date, and it was fully orchestrated. Like they told the person to do it.
I would have such anxiety for the remainder of my life.
I genuinely do. I think even once you're off the show, you'd be like, I'm still on the show. This is part of the show.
Truman Show.
Have you ever seen the documentary? Oh, what's it called? The Participant, maybe.
I don't think so. Oh wait, I think we talked about it once when we were on a walk.
Yeah, I think I told you about it because, oh god, it was sickening. I might be getting the name wrong. If I am, I'll put an edit to correct it. It's essentially about a Japanese man who was on this frankly torturous reality show that basically he was like, reach this goal, get this amount of money and you'll win. And he did. And they were like, actually, there's another level. And then actually there's another level, and it got to the 4th level, and he just assumed everything was still part of the show. And to be fair, he's doing well now and done amazing things with his fame, but it's crazy.
We've got to find a way to cover that at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it's a documentary, unfortunately, so I guess...
Oh, is it? Yeah. It's not like a... I don't know.
It's not a pilot. I mean, I guess we could cover the show itself.
Yeah.
If we do like foreign reality shows, which would be a whole other market, to be fair. Confessionals were filmed at the end of each week, and they were originally conducted by Bunim and Murray. So as the producers, they would go and they'd be the one to ask the questions of, what do you think of this person?
I always wondered about that.
Yes.
Because I always pictured in my head, they would have an argument, they would stop, they would walk into the room with the cameras and be like, all right, I'm ready, go, and just start rattling off their thoughts.
Is funny to think of, they have to phrase it in a way of, how did you feel in the moment? Because like, if I had an argument on Monday and you were filming this Saturday, you'd be like, I'm over it now.
I'm over this now. Maybe that could be better because you can look at it more, I guess, quote unquote, objectively.
Yeah.
Rather than... But now it feels, at least with certain reality shows, they do want that emotion. So they do try and like drum it up a bit.
Yeah,
again.
I'm thinking of RuPaul's Drag Race specifically.
That's different, I feel, at least, because... It's kind of the nature in drag to sort of exaggerate.
That's true. I guess I haven't seen that many shows with confessionals. I know Love Island does them, but again, I haven't really watched that.
I'm a Celebrity.
Oh yeah, I suppose they do, don't they? Yeah.
They show them the clips, like just like, remember this? How does that make you feel?
Maybe.
Like it's a therapy session.
It does make you wonder, though, with it being hosted by Bunim and Murray, what questions were they asking?
Yeah.
Were they really leading the conversation? And this is a part of the reality TV as a whole. How much were they hand-holding the conversation? How much were they just kind of letting them go off?
Yeah.
And speak specifically?
I like the one confessional where the guy was in a bath.
Yeah, that was so random.
Bring that back.
Like he had a towel over him.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
No, dick out.
Dick out. Fucking giving creep vibes. Tubby time.
It's Tubby.
The first time I watched that, I couldn't look at the TV. I felt sick.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. Was it Creep 2?
No, Creep 1.
He did a similar thing in Creep 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Tubby time specifically. Yeah, Creep 1.
But then he gets like one-upped. God, Creep 2 is so good. Creep 1's great.
I need to rewatch them both. I mean, I've got the new Blu-ray, so I do need to watch them. The show started as a fly-on-the-wall type of show, so like how we watched it, they just kind of let them to their own devices. But later seasons would add tasks, like kind of group tasks. I think it's more season-long than individual, but I'm sure there was equivalent of challenges. Everyone would have sort of a group job.
Yeah.
I assume it's like someone's in charge of the cooking, someone's in charge of this, and so on. It would also be activities and group trips. It's like, team building holidays, essentially, I imagine. Which does kind of lead into, I can't remember exactly where in my notes this is, but some of the criticisms the show has faced, mainly in terms of its authenticity. Yes, of course, because of the usual reality TV criticisms of
kind of the nature of any sort of any documentary. I can understand, especially for reality TV, because it is presenting things in sort of a very clear narrative.
Especially if this is the first reality TV you've watched, and you are like, how real is this?
Yeah.
I can imagine it is quite off-putting. But then, also in the fact that this is the real world, the whole idea of they're getting essentially free accommodations, free holidays in later seasons, and some of these people, essentially given jobs by the show, did make people question, well, how real is it?
Yeah.
Which I can understand. So the show had pretty clear-cut rules on what people could do on the show. So physical violence was one of them, completely not tolerated. If violence did occur, so say when someone hits someone else, which, it does happen. It happens in life.
People be hitting.
They sometimes gave the victim a choice in whether the participant stays. So let's say I hit you. You could say, no, I want him gone, or it's fine.
I feel as though you could use that for psychological warfare. Like you rile them up, they hit you, be like, no, I want them to stay.
I want them to stay, actually.
A masochist and what's it called? Someone who likes inflicting pain.
Not a sadomasochist, that's a sick.
A masochist and a sadomasochist. They're on a reality show. There's just a constant. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Reality TV show. There's masochism. Like 20 people, half a masochist, half a sadomasochist.
I do love hearing people's crack shit ideas for reality TV shows.
Yeah.
I heard one where it was like the straight man, where everyone, they're in a house full of gay people, but one guy is straight, but he has to like pretend he's not, and essentially every week they vote out someone, and if the straight guy gets to the end, he gets a bunch of money, but the plot twist is they're all straight. None of them know.
That's good. I've seen an equivalent of that with TERFs.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, where it's just
one trans person
with one trans person, and they gotta try and vote out the trans person, but again, they're all just cis women.
It's basically like those Jubilee videos, or those online. Yeah. We put one trans person in a room with 10 whatever and stuff like that, and just putting it to the next level. Yeah. Honestly, I'd watch them.
I know.
That's the reality.
You want to torture them?
Yeah. But yeah, so saying that, production would sometimes step in and say no, they're out, regardless of what the victim says. And production has also stepped in to like break up fights. So if the fight is happening, they won't just film it. Yeah. They will get involved. Very similarly, drugs. Participants are routinely drug tested, and they are removed and put in, offered support and things if they are found to be using. And property damage. If damage occurs,
it sucks because like a lot of these people were artists, and like goddamn, this must have been like I know it must have been like the equivalent of a rehab for a lot of these people.
It does make me wonder, when was weed legalized?
Well, in the United States.
Well, I know it's not fully, but like in some states it's legal.
And like Obama's administration. Yeah. So like late Obama, so probably like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, I think that it makes me wonder how lenient they were on weed before that. I know specifically. Because loads of people do.
Especially musicians.
Yeah. But I imagine there was probably more focused
just
on
like, it's fine.
Hardcore stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a little bit of cocaine.
It's a little touch.
Only a little bit.
Also, property damage. If damage occurred, whoever caused the damage had to pay for it. So that's a pretty simple one. So, if someone broke something, pay it up. Each season takes place in a different location. So the first one was New York, and then each season then would follow a new group of people in a different location. The closest season we've had to us was season 4 in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
No
No fucking The Real World Cardiff.
Hey,
Honestly,
I mean, no, it hasn't been rebooted. It's ended in like 2019.
it ended, yeah.
So, but oh well.
That'd be a shame. Honestly, I'd love Real World Cardiff.
I don't think I would.
I mean, it's like the valleys.
Maybe
isn't it?
if this was like the 90s and it's a time capsule, I'll bring this up when we talk about the actual episode itself. Yeah. But I think time has been kind to it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I saw it now, I think I'd be repulsed.
Yeah, that's completely fair. You'll get into it. I mean, there have been many spin-offs, so who knows? Maybe they'll come back one day. But Emma Murray produced similar shows. One of the ones I like the idea of was Road Rules, which is essentially this concept, but in an RV.
Okay.
So, like, they put 7 strangers in an RV on a road trip.
Oh, okay.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to cause fucking conflict.
But it's fucking stank in there.
Oh, God, yeah. On a different note, there was a 2008 film called Pedro, inspired by the life story of participant Pedro Zamora.
Yeah, that's who I was referring to earlier. I couldn't remember the name off the top of my head, but...
If you haven't seen those seasons, Pedro suffered with AIDS. He was, I think, the first person, like, openly gay man on television, reality television, to ever discuss openly having AIDS.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we just found out he did sadly pass away in 1994, like 22 years old. Which is tragic, but... You know, the fact his story clearly goes on. In 2008, they made a film of it and made a big impact of just the normalization of openness. So speaking about AIDS, and there was also 2 localized shows around the world, in Stockholm and Visby specifically, which surprised me. There's not more. I'm surprised there's not.
Well, international was.
Yeah, other countries.
Real world Dubai.
Yeah, you know, not surprised. Well, I am surprised. There was a modern show in 2021 called The Real World Homecoming, which reconnected the cast members. However, this was cancelled, and I think this is where I got confused. I think this has been removed from Paramount Plus.
Right,
specifically
okay.
The Real World Homecoming. I have seen clips, because the first season they did was for New York, so these people did come back, so I've seen some clips of that. However, I think there was only 3 or 4 seasons, because frankly, they couldn't get a lot of people back.
I can understand that.
You know, I think they got...
Honestly, surprised seeing some of the clips I have from this specific season. I'm surprised they got everyone back together on that one.
Honestly.
But they didn't hold any grudges, so...
No, exactly. And I think that's how... I can't remember their name specifically, but that's how some of them described it essentially as a kind of growing and healing part of it to reconnect after all this time.
Yeah.
And accept, you know, people can change and things like that. So we talked about the criticisms earlier, and another thing I wanted to bring up, and we'll talk about this now because we're going to get into the actual episode, is how the show framed participants themselves, so how it characterized them in different ways based on whether their backgrounds or their activities. So, for example, some participants were accused of glorifying alcohol and sex. The show was also accused or criticized of using... hot button issues, like we said earlier, to incite conflict. So actively bringing up race, sexuality, things that, you know, naturally will come up.
Yeah.
But some people thought perhaps the show was maybe pushing that a bit, like from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Sort of poking the bear. And linked to that, diversity on the show has been criticized in terms of how people of color and people from different ethnicities might be cast on the show. Of course, it's good for the show to be diverse, but kind of framing it in a sense of, are they being cast just to kind of fill that role?
Definitely the minority.
Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing of, yes, it's good for things to be diverse, but of course, in this instance, is there diversity kind of being weaponized, for lack of a better term? Tokenized, that's a better term, yeah. And in a similar sense, the show actually was criticized for its lack of Asian men on the show, mainly because Asian women, especially on American reality TV, a lot of people saw it as, even if it wasn't overtly sexualized, there was this big trend on
sexualized Orientalism.
Essentially, yes, exactly that. And in 2018, 25 years on here, there was not a single Asian man on The Real World.
Yeah,
genuinely. So, cast members have spoken about these criticisms in different ways. One notable one I found interesting was Season 7's Irene McGee has done full talks at colleges about media manipulation within reality TV.
Okay.
I think that must be very interesting to get that perspective.
Yeah.
So the show ran for 33 seasons with 614 episodes, ending on MTV January 4th, 2017. It did get revived for one more season.
On Facebook or
yeah,
something.
on fucking Facebook Watch, which confused me. June 13th to August 29th,
It's like Community
2019.
being brought back on Yahoo.
Yeah,
and then
it's like,
crashing it.
Exactly, I just didn't understand. So the 33rd season is on Facebook Watch, and including the spin-off Homecoming franchise, the franchise as a whole seems to have ended in 2023.
R.I.P.
So there's no, as far as I can tell, no lingering shows within the Real World brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. reality.
Yeah, I mean, fucking 30 years, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went on for a while. Yeah, so now we can actually talk about the episode itself. Pretty simple background, because, it's not writing or anything.
Yeah.
It was directed by George Versko, who did 78 episodes of the show, and it aired May 21st, 1992, only 3 days after the cast left the loft.
Oh, okay.
So they finished filming 3 days before, then the episode aired. So I assume they were just continually editing based on the time.
If you ever did something like this, do you think you could actually watch it, or do you think...
Absolutely not.
Because there are certain things... Okay, obviously this is the 90s. This is different. It's hard to frame how that could be perceived, which sounds dumb, but this specific kind of editing, this kind of scenarios where they're trying to paint you in a certain light, I think if I saw myself in any of these situations, I'd want to vomit.
Here's my thing. I'd be curious to see how, with me knowing the full context of what happened, in my perspective on the show, I'd be interested to see how they edited it. I don't think I could watch it, because once you know of hang on, that didn't happen, this was filmed before this and that, I think it would drive me insane. Because then what do? Obviously back in the 90s there wasn't the internet, so you can't publicly talk about it much. But let's say you were on one now, what do you do then? Tweet about it and be like, that's not what happened. And it's you kind of look insane then.
Yeah.
Because some people will just, even if you're right, just kind of take that the wrong way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I personally could. I'm finding it kind of surreal listening back to the episodes of the podcast. Obviously, I edit these quite close to when we record them.
Yeah, you can make yourself sound as good as you want. You just choose not to.
Exactly. I choose to leave in all my mistakes.
What do you actually think of the episode, though? How was this for you?
I quite enjoyed it. I don't really have too much strong feelings towards the craft. It's very interesting seeing an early example of reality TV.
Yeah, it's a similar thing for me of watching some of the first, not an equivalent, but just sort of, this is how my brain works, is when you're watching some of the first films come together. It's like a fascination rather than a traditional enjoyment of them.
Exactly. So it's crazy to think how this has aged. I think this has aged really well. Looking at it from a perspective of the filmmaking and thinking, wow, this feels like a modern reality TV show, even though it's 30 years old.
Yeah, this could be, obviously because of the technology, it's in 4:3, it's shot on DV cameras, they're not going to look crisp. But given the framing and the editing, the music, it's just right there. Everything is laid out.
I think if this didn't exist and they released the Real World now, it would just take off. I think it would. I think if it was exactly the same, just updated technology, I think it would take off.
I think the content of, and the time it was created, the 90s, all the things that make it dated now, I think make it fascinating. It's such a time capsule in an interesting way.
Absolutely. I'd love to watch the London season to see. I mean, I love going back to old media. I'm currently rewatching. I've never watched it before. Watching Torchwood for the first time, which, if you don't know, it's a Doctor Who spin-off and takes place in Cardiff. And we've said before on this podcast, we don't live that far away from Cardiff. I mean, it's Wales. You could live from North Wales and you're not that far away from Cardiff. So it is kind of fascinating just seeing snippets of, oh, hang on, that's not like it used to be. And this is changed now.
Yeah.
So I imagine if you're from New York and you watch this, it would be crazy to think, oh, I know that street and this is different.
It's always
now.
wonderful in seeing it in films, for fictionalized films, but it's something so different where... again, reality, but it is so candid. It's not perfectly constructed. You do see just weird shit all the time.
Yeah, seeing real people walk through the streets of New York and interact with people who aren't part of the show. Yeah. I'm sure, say, for example, the bikers that come up and Becky goes on a bike ride with. I'm sure the producers kind of edged that of, oh, come on, can like you take her for a ride or something and make good TV?
Yeah.
But I'm sure those bikers were actually just people who were there.
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting in its authenticity, and how, you know, you do have the mix of cultures coming in. Should we talk about the cast?
Yeah.
Better term? So,
let's talk about them individually.
Yes, we've got Becky is arguably not Becky, it's Julie.
Yeah, Julie's the main character.
Julie,
she has the introduction.
Julie is arguably our main character,
which is an interesting choice. Especially later on.
Yeah.
With how it's framed.
Yeah.
But I think it's like kind of smart, just because obviously she's probably the biggest fish out of water in this group of people. But she is still a dancer. She's still looking for fame, but she's probably like the furthest in terms of state.
She's from Birmingham, Alabama, and obviously this takes place
Birmingham.
in New York. Birmingham. She's from Birmingham, Alabama. She's 19 years old, and she's obviously she's moving to New York. She wants to be a dancer. But her father wants her to go into computer science. I have got a quote.
She wants to be a computer operator or something.
Yeah, it was very specific. I have quotes on each of these people as described by MTV.
Okay.
So as we go through them, I'll say what MTV described them as.
But wait, before you do, I just want to say, I had whiplash at the beginning because when they were showing the priest, to sort of set the scene of Alabama, sort of really frame that this woman is in a very different location. She's going to the big city.
Yeah, different community.
Then the priest quotes a Talking Heads song.
Does he? What's the quote?
It's this ain't no party. This ain't no disco.
That priest was wild.
I know, he was crazy.
But
he's got good taste in music.
It really does. And, you know, he seems like a progressive man.
Yeah.
Based on what he says.
Yeah.
But he was very, very extreme. I don't know if I could sit in a church like that. But yeah, Julie was described by MTV as innocent and engaging. So it makes sense that they would kind of frame this from her perspective. I do want to talk about, just very quickly, I just want to mention that before we meet Julie, we get the intro to this, which is the kind of a bit of music, and they say, when people start being this is a show when people stop being polite
and
start being real.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting, because I've never agreed with the take that people are naturally offensive, on the offense. I think that's quite a controversial opinion I have.
Wasn't it like that whole idea constructed because not that like people are evil, but more that idea for the show was because in season 0 the interesting stuff started occurring when people were like having fights.
That's what I was going to say. I think that it's on that same basis of it's not just going to be 7 people getting along. Yeah. It kind of wants to frame of, oh no, it's the whole thing, we're getting real. It's giving the energy of, oh, I'm not mean, I'm honest.
Yeah.
You know? I just think it's interesting.
It is a sad nature of, for compelling storytelling, is conflict is needed. Yeah. And these kind of conflict is interpersonal. So
exactly.
So a lot of time with these sort of shows, it is just stirring a pot.
Yeah.
So when they start bringing up really controversial elements, it can get very heated and quite uncomfortable.
Exactly. I think that's interesting, actually, saying that about the conflict, mainly because of how Julie is framed up at the beginning, because we get conflict between her and her father as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure the producers probably behind the camera was asking Julie's dad, you know, how do you feel about her? She's going off to the big city and doing this and doing that.
Yeah.
And her and her father have a disagreement, essentially, I think her father says, it's the whole thing of, oh, well, I don't have opinion about it, but it clearly does.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And I definitely feel as though the beginning has helped almost soften her, let's just say, problematic takes later on.
Yeah.
And
kind of.
It's obviously it's important to frame, this is the 90s. Not that it excuses anything, but she does say some like mildly problematic stuff.
Out of pocket shit, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
it's the 90s, and as we talk about this, we've got to remember, yes, these are and were real people in a real context at a real time. However, we don't know what went on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we're not excusing and we're not...
we're not excusing and we're not blaming.
Yeah.
You know, we're just discussing it as reality television, which is what it's framed as.
Yeah, which makes it more difficult when it is...
real people.
It gives the appearance of reality.
We are criticizing them as, for lack of a better term, characters on this show.
Yeah. But
we know that they're real people.
Yeah.
You know. And, you know.
I think that's why we're going to bring up the idea of framing a lot of the time for this.
Exactly. And we'll get into why pretty quickly, but we get the introductions then of all the other people. So we'll go through them and then we'll talk about the conflict of this episode. So first we meet Eric. Eric is from Ocean Township, New Jersey. He's 20 years old. He's a model. He is on probation for steroid usage. And he considers himself sensitive. Eric is the typical, like, kind of outlandish guy.
Yeah.
I think you can see that archetype already with him. Typical straight man. I mean, MTV described him as charismatic and good looking for the ladies.
I know that he did a modeling thing later on in the show.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting when you see what is considered. I'm not saying it's a bad looking guy, of course. I just think it's very interesting when you see, oh, this guy's so attractive, and it's a 90s man. And frankly, it's just a dude.
Why do you think they would have brought on Clavicular?
No, but that's what I mean. I feel like there's such an emphasis now on. I was thinking about this earlier because I was listening to a podcast that mentioned Euphoria, and comparing it to Skins of all things.
Oh yeah,
and I just thought it was interesting how like modern media frames attractiveness as kind of this unattainable thing. And in the 90s, again, it depends on the people, but in the 90s, it feels like they're saying, this is the hottest person of the 90s. And it's
so
just
what
a
are you
dude.
saying? He's fugly.
I'm not saying he's fugly. I'm saying he looks like a guy.
Yeah, I
Whereas
get what you mean.
a lot of attractive people, quote unquote, now don't look like people.
I understand what you mean.
They look like a whole level above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, modern attractive people can mog 90s attractive people?
Well, it's the whole joke of fucking 28 years later. Just like, what's wrong with their face? Like, you got 90s attractive people in a room with modern attractive people.
That's such a good joke.
Yes. So that we then meet Becky. Becky's from New Hope, Pennsylvania. She's a folk singer. She's a bit of a crossroads in her life and career, as many of them are. She was described by MTV as moody, which I think is rude as fuck. I would be pissed.
They'd probably pick me as moody. Shit, Sarah.
She didn't even seem moody. Like, I guess we only watched the first episode, but like,
yeah,
no, she just had shit going on.
There's some heated arguments later on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I genuinely might finish the first season of this.
Genuinely, from the clip show I saw, it was actually just quite engrossing. But that was like a clip show. I'm not sure how it'll work, but...
exactly.
Carry on.
And the short episodes. So then we get Kevin. Kevin is at the bottom. He's 26 years old, so he's noticeably older than some of the others. He's from Jersey City, New Jersey. Yeah, he's a poet, a writer, an educator. So he's sort of going to find
in that
a story.
compilation I saw, he has very strong arguments with everyone.
Yeah?
Yeah. Often about race. And
I mean, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Oh, God. Those are the most uncomfortable because he is correct.
Yeah.
And, but, oh, God. Intersectionality didn't exist at the time, so a lot of the way we were just like, it was boiled down to, I am being fucked over because of my race, and then the women be like, yeah, but it's just, I have it hard as well. And then But then he gets really mad, and oh God, it is not comfortable. It's not a comfortable thing. It's fascinating.
It is,
given the context.
And we'll discuss it
because he was 100% correct in everything he was saying,
and we'll discuss it more in like this episode specifically in the conversations that happen. But yeah, that's the hard thing, and I'm sure that, granted, we're saying this, we're both white. As far as you know. The fucking pictures of us on Instagram aren't real. Yeah, but it's very interesting, and I think in many cases when you see someone who is, arguably ontologically correct, like you cannot just disagree with them, like they are right.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it makes you wonder how much are we not seeing? Like, are we jumping to him being riled up, and they've cut out 5 minutes of winding him up? Frankly, is that our own internal biases of seeing a quote-unquote aggravated black man and thinking,
exactly.
oh, he's being aggressive, when the white people are probably just doing the exact same thing.
No, genuinely.
Yeah, that's the one interesting thing with reality TV. I do think it really makes you question your own biases and think, right, what is happening and why? I mean,
if you're smart, you should be questioning your biases.
Of course, but not
most people
everyone
be like,
does.
damn, why is he always bad?
Exactly. I mean, that's why I said with RuPaul's Drag Race, it kind of clicked for me of, hang on, how come the villain villain edits are always going to the outspoken people of color on the show.
Yeah.
When more often or not, it's the white people who are very aggravating.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that in a bit. We also then meet Norman, who is 25 from Wakefield, Michigan.
Michigan. That's my Sufjan Stevens.
Every time I go to fucking do stuff, I've seen Stevens, I accidentally do Chicago. Exactly. He is of Sicilian descent. He is bisexual, and he is described by MTV as a free spirit.
Very cool. They got a bisexual guy.
They did, yeah. Genuinely kind of an uncommon type of guy.
Yeah. 90s was huge for the bisexual man.
Yeah.
And woman.
Good for them.
Thank you.
Yeah, they should bring back bisexuality. Yeah, wow.
I say as a bisexual woman.
I stand by my opinion that
all sexuality is fake.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is my opinion. But also of many, I feel like a lot of guys are bisexual and just... I saw an interesting take on TikTok earlier that was being bisexual.
Kiss your bros, unironically. Just give them a little peck and then just stick your tongue in their mouth a little bit.
I say that. I've kissed most of my guy friends.
Yeah.
If not all of them at this point.
Yeah.
But I saw an interesting take that was saying about how bisexuality for women and men are different. And I didn't love the way the guy worded this, but he essentially said, women, like loads of women say they're bisexual and they've never done anything with a woman, which is fine. But a lot of guys say they're bisexual and then they have to kind of prove that they're bisexual.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't agree with the way that he said it, but I kind of agree with the sentiment of, I feel like there's not as many bisexual men just because they're essentially told to pick a lane.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's kind of common for
women as well. Of course, yeah, of course it is.
But no, there is a difference.
Yeah.
Like there is for everything.
I think there's a different... I was looking as an outsider, as a man.
Happy Pride Month. Here's our takes on bisexuality. Go.
Okay. I was going to say, I think there's a different kind of biphobia that I see prevalent, especially against bi women, is mainly the whole narrative of a bi woman taking a straight boyfriend to Pride.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's a funny joke, but also it's kind of biphobic.
Yeah.
You know?
But also, often... women relationships aren't taken as seriously.
Yeah.
By because those sort of relationships are just seen kind of more common within straight.
Yeah.
Like kissing is more common within women.
Yeah.
So just like any, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to discuss. I think I'd be very interested to see how Norman's conversations based, because I think it would have been very easy for them to just be like, oh, we got a gay man. To get a bisexual man specifically.
From what I saw, all the clips where they actually go to a gay rally.
Oh, cool.
In Washington.
Nice.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
But in the show, they were just like, oh, he's bisexual, but he didn't bring it up.
Oh. I mean... Like I said,
but they're also pretty much just like, oh, but you just, you didn't flaunt it, so.
Oh, yeah. It's always that. I was going to say it's the 90s. Yeah. You don't look bisexual.
You are bisexual.
Yeah. Our daughters are gay.
Bring in the raging gay.
He's not the stereotypical gay that people expect from the 90s and even now. Yeah. Then we've also got his dog, Gouda, which is quite funny. I thought we were allowed to bring pets, and there's also someone's cat.
Yeah.
Who he has beef with. I did write down the cat name. I don't think they actually say the cat's name at any point. Then we've got Heather. She is 20 years old from Jersey City, New Jersey, same place Kevin is from. She is a hip-hop artist with the group Boogie Down.
She was
at the time.
Yeah. Then she left.
Well,
I mean, when she starts the show, she's left.
Oh yeah,
she's pursuing
her solo stuff.
Yeah.
She is described as by MTV has a lot of drive, speaks her mind regardless of the consequences. I think that is a very interesting thing to say about a black woman in the 90s.
Yes.
We've got two more. We've got Andre. He is from Detroit, Michigan. Chicago.
Michigan.
Even when I die alone. Whenever I'm in the mood to listen to Sufjan Stevens, it is just like, should I listen to Illinois or Michigan?
Should I just kill myself?
Should I have a bit
I'll actually
fun?
Carry Lowell. It'll be fine.
Oh, it's a sad day when you get into my car and carry it.
I know, every time I come in and you have the CD and I'm just like, damn, bro, are you okay?
He's a lot of feelings. If you're not a fan of Sufjan Stevens, I just want to say, I know Chicago's not in Michigan. It's a joke. Right.
We know two states. We're waiting for the other 48.
If I was him, I would give it 10 more years, release one, and be like, I will do the others, and then never post music again.
I hope it's like Utah or something.
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. Andre is 23. He is a singer and guitarist, and he is described as the prototypical Gen X guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Looks like he makes some slacker rock.
Yeah.
He wasn't really given that much in this episode.
He really wasn't. Genuinely, I don't even think I can remember what he looked like.
He had long hair.
Oh, yeah. I can remember him now.
How did MTV describe him?
That was how they described him. Prototypical Gen X guy.
My mistake. Okay.
And then we've got Julie. Obviously, Julie we've already spoken about. She was the last person to enter the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just get some reactions and sort of a bit of casual conversation until, someone's beeper goes off and Julie commits microaggressions out of fucking nowhere.
Oh, God. I feel so... the framing of her being from a small town from the south as well, but they put so much emphasis on it.
I was going to say, it's such a fascinating build-up of essentially this is our main character. Everyone's already met, she's now coming in, everyone's getting along, and then she essentially, the beeper goes off and she's like, I hope that's not for drug deals, which is an insane thing to say to a person of colour.
It was the 90s. Nobody knew anything.
Nobody knew. Who knew? How was she meant to know that was an inappropriate thing to say? But to be fair, they have a conversation about racism and also like race and gender hand in hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said earlier, it just kind of often boiled down.
Intersectionality hadn't existed yet.
Yeah, it just kind of boiled down to, well, I'm a small town girl. I don't know any of that.
I'm from Birmingham,
Alabama. Yeah, and this is what I mean in terms of how did the production handle this? Because obviously they just kind of left them to their own devices.
Release the raw tapes, MTV. We know you have them somewhere.
That's the thing, because later on, Julie goes out for a meal with with Heather and Kevin, and they have a meal together. And just like, so the one girl who's just committed, was just racist towards them is now having dinner with them. It makes me wonder, was that a production decision?
Yeah.
Or did they, as people, decide, hey, let's go and sit down and have a talk? And, it's...
I definitely feel as though if this happened now, I would think like, okay, yeah, that was definitely constructed.
Yeah.
But back then, it's so unclear.
That's exactly what I mean. And, we know in the confessionals that we get that Julie obviously... Julie openly says, like, I don't consider myself a racist, which I think is the first time the term is said. I don't think anyone refers to her as racist. They just call out what she says.
Did Kevin call her?
I think he said, I thought he said what she said was racist. I don't know if he said like, oh, you're a racist, which, people can't separate those. The amount of people who get told, oh, what you said was racist or homophobic, and say, oh, well, I'm not racist.
Yeah, if we're misquoting it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you can say something racist or homophobic or bigoted without, you can't just self-prescribe being a racist. It's like fucking Nigel Farage who's like, well, I'm not a racist. It's like, that's not for you to decide. It's not an identity. Yeah. I mean, some people, for fucking some people it is.
If you're like truly evil.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're Hitlerite.
Yeah. But, during that meal, Julie is saying about how, of basically just essentially the modern argument of reverse racism. Yeah. She says that she thinks Kevin is prejudiced against white people.
You got to picture this in the 90s on MTV. It sounds dumb, but this is where a lot of people are going to get these concepts.
There was a lot of
prejudices.
Exactly.
Like having a mirror thrown at them. And it's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable.
I agree. I bet there was a lot of people like Julie who've never been to New York, who've never been to the city, and were watching these conversations happen.
A lot of well-meaning people who are like, yeah, I'm sure your life is hard, but everybody's got it hard.
Yeah, not understanding the difference between an individual sense of hardship and a systemic sense of hardship.
Yeah, because later on, I know Kevin brings up that he was like actually racially profiled.
Yeah.
And that he's like struggling with employment most likely because of his race.
Yeah.
And he's just not. I think it was either Julie or who's the singer?
Well, not Heather.
Not Heather.
They're all some musicians. Becky, the folk singer.
Yeah. But it was with Becky, and she was. It wasn't going in.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You do need a certain openness, and that's the circumstances like this where it is important, I think, for people to get out of their bubble.
Yeah, it is incredible though that after all these years, like they're still on like good terms.
Yeah, Generally, that's the thing. I think it's the understanding of.
And I'm not trying to be like, oh look, we could just look past all that.
No, of course, it's you got to accept that people can grow and learn.
Also,
but
they were really fucking young in this.
Yeah, exactly.
We're older
They're
than all the
90.
people.
Yeah, that's crazy. We literally are.
Yeah.
And what I said, like, you educate people. I know there's contention around that of who should be educating who, and people doing their own research. But God, there's so much shit online nowadays, and so many lies and stuff. If you are able to have an educational conversation with someone,
exactly, have the internet.
The best way to learn about any group.
Is to go up to them and be like, educate.
Exactly. It's like, I don't get this. Tell it to me. What do you mean, systemic racism? Tell me about it. Whereas I'll just fucking have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
Obviously not, Nazis. People always jump to that. It's like, well, I don't want to talk to like extreme bigots. Like, not them.
Yeah.
But like, if you're like, I've never spoken to a Polish person before, like, fair enough. I don't want that. Yeah, we mainly focus on these three. We do get like some scenes between others. They decide who they share rooms with, which I thought was interesting. I kind of liked that.
Yeah.
That they kind of, I think it was Andre and Heather share together because they both snore and sleep late.
Yeah. And
they kind of base it off of that. Then we get a scene with a love and sex book, which is definitely placed there by production to get conversations going.
What makes you think that? Do you not keep sex books around to ask questions?
I have books.
Those are good conversation starters.
Yeah, generally. I should just leave my foot fetish book out in places. It's a very educational book. What can I say?
Yeah. You meet someone with an actual foot fetish, is that soy jack? No, you'd be fascinated.
No, I would.
Tell me more.
Oh, of course. I find it very interesting. Just fetishes in general, not like foot fetishes specifically.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, reality show, 7 people, all different fetishes, and they all got
Love Island style. They have to like make it work between someone.
A fetishist.
Fetish Island.
You got a feet guy, you got a hand guy,
What's like no?
What's the worst?
I was just gonna say, what's the worst thing you could put on that show?
Stick a
That's not a fetish.
I know.
That's just a crime.
It's just like people who just like a guy like, oh, I'm into S&M. It's just like, oh, good.
That's horrific. Secret new reality show. Secret.
It just turns into a witch hunt. And like they accidentally castrate a random guy by mistake.
I was gonna say, if they get to the finale and the is still on the show and they haven't voted them off, if they vote them off, they get arrested. If they don't vote them off, they go free.
And they all end up by being like, oh, none of us can leave.
None of us can do this.
They all join in ritual suicide. So no one.
What if we get it wrong?
What if we get it wrong?
Take that risk.
Everyone takes the Kool-Aid.
So dumb.
Yeah.
We do get a little narrative of Becky with her music.
Yeah.
Not much, but a little bit. We see her perform.
Yeah, she's practicing.
Yeah, and Norman's like, she was alright, I guess.
Yeah, she was pretty good. But I had fun in the bath.
In the bath. But yeah, it is mainly just the racism conversation, which I think is a really good way of framing this show of we're not going to shy away from the real things, like you said, the real world.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, you can look at it from the argument of, is it manufactured? Is it kind of exploiting these hot button issues?
Yeah.
I don't like referring to racism as a hot button issue. It's because, fucking 30 years after the fact, and with all of history, I'm pretty sure it's gone beyond that. But, that's how MTV described it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, we kind of get a bit of a summary where everyone gets talking heads, specifically talking about Julie, has kind of tied together the narrative of this episode.
Yeah.
It does make me wonder if the future episodes will kind of, again, focus on one person and have more of that narrative.
I thought they were going to. I don't believe so.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess it depends on how that would work.
Yeah. Based
on the reality style. But
I mean, you'd have to reverse time to be like, oh, this is where I came from.
Honestly, that'd be kind of cool if they did.
Yeah.
Because then it would reframe these conversations.
That's true.
And you'd be watching the same conversations with a different perspective. Honestly, I think that's a good idea. Maybe they should have done that. Yeah, I might check out some clips, if not the rest of this season.
I recommend at least watching the compilation.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to watch the full show because, it's different people. So
Yeah.
and it's fucking 30 seasons.
You're going to watch 600 episodes.
Exactly. So no, I'm not. But I'll definitely check out, see what happens in this season, just to kind of see the history of reality television.
Yeah.
I'm glad we switched to this.
Me too.
Yeah. Do you have any plans on investigating this further? Or are you satisfied?
I got my fill.
You got your fill? Fantastic. Amazing. We don't have any Reddit comments this week because, surprisingly, a 30-year-old show with which ended and is kind of wiped from the internet in many places doesn't have that active a fan base. It does have a fan base.
Yeah, this episode's got a tank, so if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah, genuinely. Well, if you like this episode, you can leave us a little review, 5 stars or whatever, or like on YouTube, depending on where you're listening. You can email us your thoughts at firsttimeflyerspodcast@gmail.com.
Fertile Flyers.
Fertile Flyers at firsttimeflyerspodcast on gmail.com. That could be recommendations. It could be thoughts on any random episode we've already covered. It can be anything at all. We always get very excited when we get emails. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok, also at First Time Flyers Podcast, where we post memes and updates about what we're covering. Next episode, we're going to be covering Jackass, pretty big one.
Yeah, we are.
Pretty big one, to
Very
be fair.
excited.
Yeah, very excited for that one. And by then, we'll have watched all Jackass films other than the new one, because we are doing something called Jackassathon at time of recording this weekend, but it will have already happened by the time you're listening to this.
Yeah.
So we'll have a lot to say about Jackass.
Yes, we will.
Rather than it's like, oh, we're going to watch the first episode. We'll watch the first episode and every film. Why not? So you can check that out. That's going to come out to you next week on all podcasting platforms. You can also find us at Pod One Out Studios on YouTube, where we have a second podcast, because that's the kind of people we are. It's called All Hail the King, a Stephen King podcast, where we talk about Stephen King adaptations. We do that with our friend Garen, who's been on this show a bunch. And at the time of you listening to this, we've got an episode out on Mr. Harrigan's phone, if you're a fan of that.
All the Harrigan heads.
All the Harrigan heads, yeah. Check out All Hail the King. It's a very great podcast. We very much enjoy
Biased.
it. I am biased.
I think it's an okay podcast. Everyone
It's
tune
alright,
in.
like,
Yeah.
you know, if you like this, you might like that. It's interesting.
Reality. Say it hornily.
Reality.
Say it angrily.
Reality. I can't. My voice has no fucking
Say
range.
Say it flirtatiously.
Reality. No, fucking. Don't look. No, you look at me like that. I can't inflect my voice naturally.
Reality.
Say it.
Reality.
See, it's all facial expressions. You sound the same.
No, I don't.
I think you do.
Well, once you start listening to this, you'll be thinking differently.
I mean, I guess once I'm editing, and maybe I'll think.
Yeah,
so.
you'll pop a raging boner once listening to.
I've already got one.
Reality.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Thank you for flying with us today. We hope you have a pleasant rest of your journey, and you join us next week when we depart for Jackass.